Hey, good morning, everybody. Today we're looking at 2 Corinthians chapter 12. And in this passage, beginning with the first verse, the Apostle Paul actually gets really vulnerable with us. He tells us about a real frustration that he had in his prayer life. It seems that he prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed about something, that God would take it away. And it seemed like God was absolutely silent for a while. Now, you would think that of all people, the Apostle Paul would be one that God would have, come on, work with me, Paul would say to God. I've been having success in planting churches and spreading the good news, your good news in the world. Why don't you make it a little easier for me? But of course, when we read the scriptures, both in the Old Testament and the New Testament, and the people whose stories are the central foundation of our faith, we remember that their lives were anything but trouble-free. As a matter of fact, they faced all kinds of hard times and they still believed. And troubles didn't lead them to think that God was absent or angry with them. No, instead, it actually fueled them, and they kind of doubled down on sharing the good news with the rest of the world, with all those people around him. And that was certainly the case with Paul. You might remember that, yes, he was a Jesus follower, but before he was a Jesus follower, he was a Jesus follower hater, even a Jesus follower killer. But now, after he met Jesus and after Jesus got a hold of his life, Paul has become just a tremendously powerful witness to the gospel, and he's planting churches all over the Mediterranean. But he writes, there was this thorn in my flesh that was given to me. Now, we desert dwellers know all about thorns, don't we? In fact, you may even have one attached to your shoe right now, or broken off in your finger, and we know that they hurt. They're painful, and we want to get them out. We want to get rid of them. And that was certainly the case with the Apostle Paul. He wanted to get rid of this thorn. But let's look what he says in verse 7. He says, so to keep me from becoming proud, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger from Satan to torment me and keep me from becoming proud. 3 different times I begged the Lord to take it away. Now, no one knows for sure what this thorn was. Was it a physical ailment? Was it persecution? Was it the opposition, the people that were opposing him, or even a temptation that he dealt with? We really don't know. We really don't know. He even speculated that God had allowed it so that he wouldn't become too proud. But he desperately wanted to get rid of it. It hit me that maybe we don't know what it is. Maybe that's part of God's plan, because when we don't know what it is, we can maybe all kind of identify with Paul, because maybe your thorn and my thorn is a lot like his thorn, because most likely we all have a thorn or two. Your thorn is that place in your life where you feel most vulnerable or broken or even defeated. You don't even really want to talk about it very much. You feel powerless to do anything about it. This passage shows that Paul's very serious about his request to God. Let's pick up in verse 8. It says, 3 different times I begged the Lord to take it away. Each time he said, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ can work through me. That's why I take pleasure in my weaknesses and in the insults and hardships and persecutions and troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong. At first, when Paul prayed, there was silence. But God finally speaks. Paul, I have something for you. It's not going to be thorn removal. I have something better than that. It's not going to be pain elimination. I've got something even more powerful than that. I have something for you, Paul, and it's called grace. It's really important, though, that we understand all of what grace is about. We understand it to be God's free gift, something that we can't earn, and it's His love and His unceasing presence, and certainly it's forgiveness. But honestly, it's much more than forgiveness. I know it in my life, and maybe you know it in yours, that grace is a flow of God's power and His presence and favor in your life, and it's from one moment to the next. It's an everyday sort of thing. It's the fuel that allows us to do what God calls us to do in our life. God says, you have a thorn, you might have pain, but I am going to give you my grace. I'm going to give you my presence, my power, my love, my mercy, my forgiveness. And it's the fuel that you are going to use to fuel you to do what I want you to do. My grace is sufficient for you. It'll fill your tank. Whatever you're going through, my grace is enough. My grace will be sufficient. So whatever it is God and you are dealing with today, it's maybe something God wants you to do. Maybe it's a pain or a place where you're struggling in your life. Maybe it's dealing with your spouse. Maybe it's just the fact of loving your spouse or caring for your children or doing your job or work or serving joyfully in some place. Whatever it is, God sends you out into this world. First, we're a grace receiver, and then He sends us out to be grace dispensers wherever we go. Wherever we land, God has put us there for a reason. And everybody needs God's grace. It's amazing. And so go out now and be a powerful dispenser of His grace. Know that His grace is sufficient for you. And His grace is sufficient for that person that doesn't know it yet. Have an amazing day.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.